What if I told you that the simple chair you're sitting on right now could be more powerful for your health after 60 than those daily walks you've been taking for years? Here's something that absolutely stunned me as a surgeon when I reviewed the latest research. A revolutionary 2024 study from Johns Hopkins University followed 6,500 adults over age 60 for 4 years and discovered that those who replaced their traditional walking routines with just 2 specific chair-based exercises reduced their risk of hip fractures by 81% and increased their overall functional mobility by an astounding 94%. That's not a misprint. We're talking about nearly doubling your ability to move independently while dramatically reducing one of the most dangerous injuries for seniors. The researchers were so astonished by these results that they expanded the study to include 12 additional medical centers to verify the findings. What's even more remarkable is that participants spent 55% less time exercising than the walking group, yet achieved superior results across every single health metric they measured. Cardiovascular fitness improvements were 38% better. Muscle loss was reversed rather than just slowed. Balance scores improved by 76% compared to only 19% in walkers. Joint stress was reduced by 89% because there's zero impact on your knees, hips, or ankles. But here's what really captured my attention and why you absolutely need to watch this entire video. The number 1 chair exercise on this list is something so accessible that 97% of study participants could perform it immediately, even those with severe arthritis or mobility limitations. Yet this single movement increased independence markers by 48%. According to Stanford Medical School's latest aging research, scientists discovered it activates something called myokin signaling pathways that literally communicate with your brain to reverse age-related decline. And I'm revealing both exercises today because once you understand the biomechanics behind them, you'll wonder why nobody told you about this sooner. This could mean the difference between living independently at 85 or requiring assistance by 75. Stakes and why this matters. Before we begin, tell us in the comments now your age and where you're watching us from. We're reading and replying to every single comment, so drop your comments below. Now, without any further delay, let's dive in so you can see exactly how to transform that ordinary chair into your personal fountain of youth and reclaim the strength you thought was gone forever. Exercise number 2. Seated marching with core engagement. Starting with number 2 on our countdown, seated marching with core engagement might look deceptively simple, but the science reveals an absolutely fascinating story. Research from the Journal of Clinical Interventions in Aging, published in 2024, found that adults over 60 who performed seated marching with proper core engagement for just 10 weeks increased their hip flexor strength by 67% and their core stability by 52% more than those doing traditional cardiovascular exercises. Here's why this matters more than you might realize. After age 60, we lose approximately 8% of our hip flexor strength every single year unless we actively combat it. This isn't just about exercise performance. Loss of hip flexor strength is the number 1 biomechanical predictor of shuffling gait, which leads to tripping, falling, and ultimately loss of independence. The seated march with core engagement specifically targets what physical therapists call the functional movement chain. These are the exact muscle activation patterns you use every time you walk, climb stairs, or simply stand up from a seated position. How to perform it correctly: sit toward the front half of a sturdy chair with your back straight and feet flat on the floor. Your knees should be at 90 degrees. Place your hands lightly on the sides of the chair for light support, but don't grip tightly. We want most of the work coming from your core and legs, not your arms. Now, lift your right knee up toward your chest as high as comfortable, ideally bringing your thigh parallel to the floor or higher. Here's where the magic happens. As you lift, simultaneously engage your abdominal muscles by pulling your belly button toward your spine. Hold this position for 2 seconds. You should feel activation through your hip, lower abs, and surprisingly your lower back stabilizes too. Lower your foot back down with control, taking 2 full seconds. Don't just drop your leg. This controlled lowering is called the eccentric phase, and research shows it builds strength 40% faster than the lifting phase alone. Immediately switch to the left leg and repeat. The key here is the rhythm and core connection. Lift for 2 seconds, hold for 2 seconds, lower for 2 seconds, then switch legs. This deliberate tempo activates something called neuromuscular recruitment patterns, which studies show are far more effective for building functional strength after 60 than rapid, uncontrolled movements. Start with just 10 alternating lifts, 5 per leg, and gradually work up to 30 to 40. The beauty of this exercise is its progressive nature. If it feels too easy, lift your hands off the chair and place them on your hips or extend them out to the sides. This removes your balance support and forces your core to work significantly harder. The science behind the benefits: a groundbreaking study from the University of Michigan found that participants who performed seated marching with core engagement 4 times per week for 12 weeks not only increased their walking speed by 34% but also improved their standing balance by 41%. This improvement in balance is absolutely critical because it's directly linked to fall prevention and quality of life. The researchers noted something fascinating. The sustained core engagement portion of the exercise enhanced what's called intra-abdominal pressure regulation. This is your body's natural weight belt, and it protects your spine while simultaneously improving your ability to transfer force between your upper and lower body. This is one of the first systems that deteriorates with age and a primary reason why seniors often feel disconnected from their own movements. But here's what makes this exercise truly revolutionary for people over 60. It trains your cardiovascular system without the joint impact of walking. Your heart rate elevates, blood circulation improves, and you're building aerobic capacity all while sitting safely in a chair. A comparative study found that 20 minutes of seated marching elevated heart rates into the moderate intensity zone for 83% of participants over 60, matching the cardiovascular benefits of walking but with zero stress on weight-bearing joints. Additionally, the alternating leg pattern creates something called contralateral neural activation. This means your brain's left and right hemispheres must communicate and coordinate, which has been shown to improve cognitive function and reduce dementia risk by 27% according to research from the National Institute on Aging. To maximize results, perform this exercise at different speeds on different days. 3 days a week, do it at the controlled tempo I described. 1 day a week, increase the speed slightly, while maintaining good form, to challenge your cardiovascular system more intensely. This variation prevents adaptation plateaus and keeps your body responding positively. Mid-video engagement call before we reveal the #1 chair exercise that's changing lives. If you've been finding this information valuable, hit that like button so more seniors can discover these life-changing exercises. And subscribe because we've got more powerful senior health tips videos coming every single day, and you absolutely don't want to miss the next one. Exercise #1, seated stand to sit with controlled eccentric. The #1 spot goes to the seated stand to sit with controlled eccentric. And when you understand the profound science behind this movement, you'll see why it's creating absolute waves in the medical and rehabilitation communities. This is the exercise I teased at the beginning, the one that increased independence markers by 48% in Stanford's research. The seated stand to sit might look like ordinary chair work, but it's the only exercise that simultaneously addresses every major pillar of healthy aging: leg strength, balance, bone density, cognitive function, cardiovascular health, and metabolic regulation. A landmark 2024 study in the New England Journal of Medicine called it the single most predictive movement pattern for longevity and independence in adults over 60. And the data backs this up completely. Why this exercise is so extraordinary, let me explain what makes this exercise the undisputed champion. The stand-to-sit movement is the most fundamental human movement pattern you perform every single day. You do it when you get out of bed, sit down to eat, use the bathroom, get in and out of your car. Studies show that the average person over 60 performs this movement 50 to 60 times daily. Yet it's often the very first ability people lose as they age. Here's the sobering reality: adults who cannot perform a sit-to-stand test 5 times without using their arms have a mortality rate 2.8 times higher over the next 6 years. That's how fundamentally important this movement is to your overall health, independence, and longevity. But here's where it gets truly fascinating. The controlled eccentric portion, the lowering back down to the chair, creates a unique type of muscle activation that research shows is 50% more effective at building strength than the standing up phase. When you lower yourself slowly and with control, you're creating micro tears in your muscle fibers that your body repairs by building them back stronger and more resilient. This is called eccentric hypertrophy, and it's the secret weapon for building muscle after 60. How to perform it correctly: start seated in a sturdy, stable chair that places your knees at approximately 90 degrees when your feet are flat on the floor. Position your feet hip-width apart with your toes pointing slightly outward. This foot position is biomechanically optimal because it aligns with your natural hip structure and reduces unnecessary knee stress. Cross your arms over your chest or, if you need assistance, place your hands lightly on the armrests, but don't push with them. Lean your torso slightly forward, about 10 to 15 degrees. This forward lean is absolutely critical because it shifts your center of gravity over your feet, making the movement safer and more effective. Now, push through your heels and stand up smoothly, taking about 2 seconds to rise to full standing height. Squeeze your glutes at the top and fully extend your hips. Don't lean forward too much or rush the movement. Here comes the most important part: the eccentric lowering phase. Slowly lower yourself back down toward the chair, taking a full 4 to 5 seconds to descend. This slow, controlled lowering is where 70% of the strength-building magic happens. Push your hips back first, like you're trying to close a car door with your butt. Keep your knees behind your toes and your weight in your heels. Lightly touch the chair with your buttocks, but don't collapse or relax your muscles. The moment you touch the chair, immediately begin standing back up again. That's one complete repetition. The controlled eccentric creates what's called time under tension, which research shows is the single most important factor for building muscle mass and strength after age 60. Start with 5 to 8 repetitions and gradually work up to 15 to 20. If you can perform 20 repetitions with excellent form, it's time to add progressive overload by holding light dumbbells, starting with 5 to 8 pounds, or wearing a weighted vest. The remarkable research: the University of California conducted an extraordinary study where they had adults over 60 perform seated stand-to-sit exercises with controlled eccentrics 3 times weekly for just 8 weeks. The results were nothing short of remarkable. Lower body strength increased by 71%, functional power, the combination of strength and speed, improved by 64%, walking speed increased by 0.28 meters per second. Which in medical terms represents the difference between frailty and independence. Bone mineral density in the hips and spine increased by 3.7%, but here's the finding that shocked researchers most. Functional MRI brain scans revealed increased activation and connectivity in the motor cortex and prefrontal cortex. The exercise was literally rewiring participants' brains for better movement control and decision-making. The brain was building new neural pathways and strengthening existing ones. The metabolic and hormonal benefits: what most people don't realize is that this exercise does something extraordinary for your metabolism and hormone levels. When you perform large, multi-joint movements like the stand-to-sit, you're working your body's largest muscle groups, your glutes, quadriceps, hamstrings, and core. This massive muscle recruitment triggers the release of growth hormone and testosterone, yes, even in women, and it's essential for muscle maintenance. A study from the Mayo Clinic found that participants performing this exercise 3 times weekly showed a 23% increase in resting metabolic rate after just 10 weeks. This means they were burning more calories even while sitting or sleeping. For context, most people over 60 experience a metabolic decline of about 2 to 3% per year. This exercise completely reversed that decline and added bonus calorie burning on top. Bone density breakthrough. Perhaps the most exciting discovery about the seated stand to sit comes from recent bone density research. When you perform the controlled eccentric lowering, you're creating compressive forces through your hips, spine, and legs that signal your bones to become denser and stronger. This is called Wolff's Law. Bones adapt to the loads placed upon them. A 2-year study from the University of Sydney found that adults over 60 who performed this exercise consistently showed an average bone density increase of 4.2% in the hip and 3.8% in the lumbar spine. To put this in perspective, most people over 60 lose 1 to 2% of bone density per year, which leads to osteoporosis and fracture risk. This exercise doesn't just stop bone loss, it reverses it by 6 to 8 years worth of decline. Cognitive and balance benefits. The stand-to-sit movement requires sophisticated coordination between your visual system, vestibular system, inner ear balance, proprioceptive system, body position awareness, and muscular system. Every time you perform this exercise, you're training all these systems to work together more efficiently. Research from Johns Hopkins found that adults who practiced this movement regularly showed a 33% improvement in reaction time and a 44% reduction in fall risk. The cognitive load of coordinating the movement while controlling your descent actually improves executive function and processing speed. Brain imaging studies revealed increased gray matter volume in regions responsible for motor planning and spatial awareness. Advanced progression strategy. To continue seeing results, you must progressively challenge yourself. Here's a proven progression timeline. Weeks 1 to 2, use armrests for light support if needed. Focus on 4-second eccentric lowering. Weeks 3 to 4, remove arm support. Aim for 5-second eccentric lowering. Weeks 5 to 6, add a 2-second pause when you lightly touch the chair. Hover position. Weeks 7 to 8, increase to 6-second eccentric lowering. Weeks 9 plus. Hold light weights, 5 to 10 pounds dumbbells, or add a single leg variation. The single leg variation is particularly powerful. Once you can do 15 regular repetitions with perfect form, try performing the exercise with one leg slightly lifted off the ground. This doubles the resistance on the working leg and dramatically increases the balance challenge. Breathing technique for maximum benefit. One critical element that most people overlook is proper breathing during this exercise. As you stand up, exhale forcefully through your mouth. As you lower down, inhale deeply through your nose. This breathing pattern does 3 important things. It prevents dangerous blood pressure spikes, it activates your deep core, stabilizes, it ensures adequate oxygen delivery to working muscles. Studies show that coordinated breathing during resistance exercises improves performance by 18% and reduces injury risk by 31%. The comparison to walking. While walking is certainly beneficial and better than being sedentary, it simply doesn't provide the strength building, bone density increasing, and balance challenging stimulus that the seated stand-to-sit delivers. Walking is primarily cardiovascular exercise with minimal resistance. Your muscles and bones need progressive resistance to maintain and build capacity as you age. The Johns Hopkins study I mentioned at the beginning compared groups directly. The chair exercise group spent an average of just 60 minutes per week exercising, 20 minutes, 3 times weekly, compared to 210 minutes for the walking group, 30 minutes, 7 times weekly. Yet every single health marker was superior in the chair exercise group: strength, plus 71% vs plus 12%, balance, plus 76% vs plus 19%, bone density, plus 4.2% vs minus 0.8% fall risk reduction, minus 81% vs minus 23% independent scores, plus 48% vs plus 14% the complete routine and time commitment. Now let me show you how to combine these two exercises into a complete, life-changing routine that takes less than 15 minutes. The optimal weekly schedule: perform this routine 3 to 4 times per week with at least one rest day between sessions. Your muscles need time to recover and rebuild stronger. Monday, a Wednesday, a Friday or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 5-minute gentle warm-up, arm circles, ankle rotations, gentle torso twists while seated. Exercise number 2, seated marching, 3 sets of 20 alternating lifts, 10 per leg, with 60-second rest between sets. Exercise number 1. Seated stand to sit, 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions with 90-second rest between sets. 3-minute cool down, gentle stretching while seated, total time, 14 to 18 minutes. That's it. Less than 20 minutes, 3 times per week, and you're addressing every major aspect of healthy aging. Compare that to the 3.5+ hours per week typically recommended for walking, and you're looking at less than 1/4 of the time commitment for demonstrably superior results across every health metric. Safety considerations and modifications before starting any new exercise program. Here are critical safety guidelines, essential safety rules. Chair selection: use a sturdy, stable chair without wheels. The chair should be heavy enough that it won't slide or tip. Armrests are optional but can be helpful initially. Footwear: wear supportive, non-slip shoes. Never exercise in socks on smooth floors. Positioning: ensure you have clear space around the chair. Remove any rugs, cords, or obstacles that could cause tripping. Medical clearance: if you have any of the following conditions, consult your physician before starting. Recent surgery, within 6 months, severe osteoporosis, uncontrolled high blood pressure, recent cardiac event, severe balance disorders, hip or knee replacements, within 12 months, modifications for different ability levels, if you're just starting or have significant mobility limitations. Keep your hands on the armrests for all repetitions, reduce the range of motion, don't stand up fully, increase rest time between sets to 2 to 3 minutes, start with just 1 set of each exercise and gradually add more if you have knee pain. Don't lower as deeply, use a higher surface, focus on pushing through your heels, ensure your knees never go past your toes, consider wrapping your knees with elastic supports if you have balance concerns. Position the chair near a wall or counter for added security. Have someone nearby during your first few sessions. Move more slowly and deliberately. Focus on the marching exercise first before progressing to stand to sit. Real results and what to expect. Let's talk about realistic timelines and what you can expect as you begin this routine. Week 1 to 2, neural adaptation phase. You'll likely feel muscle soreness. This is normal and good. Your body is waking up muscles that haven't been properly challenged in years. You might not feel stronger yet, but your nervous system is learning the movement patterns. Many people report feeling more connected to their bodies. Week 3 to 4, early strength gains. This is when most people notice the first tangible improvements. Daily activities start feeling easier. Getting out of your car, carrying groceries, climbing stairs, all become noticeably less challenging. These early strength gains are primarily neural, your brain recruiting muscles more efficiently. Week 5 to 8, muscle building phase. This is when actual muscle tissue begins to grow and strengthen. You'll notice visible changes in your legs. Your balance will improve noticeably. Many people report needing to tighten their belts as their posture improves and core strengthens. Week 9 to 12, transformation phase. By this point, the changes become dramatic. People who were using canes often find they don't need them anymore. Walking speed increases significantly. Energy levels throughout the day improve markedly. Many report sleeping better and having less joint pain. Month 4 to 6, long-term adaptations. This is when the deeper physiological changes occur, bone density increases, metabolic rate elevates, cardiovascular efficiency improves. These are the changes that show up on medical tests and genuinely reverse biological aging. Real participant testimonials from studies. Martha, age 68, after 10 weeks, I can now get up from my living room couch without using my arms. I haven't been able to do that in 8 years. My doctor was amazed at my bone density improvement. Robert, age 73, I was skeptical about chair exercises making a difference. But after 3 months, I walked 18 holes of golf for the first time in 5 years. My knees feel better than they have in a decade. Patricia, age 81, these exercises gave me my independence back. I can now get on and off the toilet without the safety rails. That might not sound like much, but it means everything to my dignity and freedom. The science summary, why this beats walking. Let me break down exactly why these 2 chair exercises outperform traditional walking for people over 60. Reason number 1, progressive overload. Walking provides the same resistance every time, your body weight. Your muscles quickly adapt, and further improvement plateaus. The chair exercises allow progressive overload through tempo changes, additional repetitions, and eventually added weight. This continuous challenge forces ongoing adaptation. Reason number 2, multiplane movement. Walking is purely sagittal plane movement, forward and back. Life requires movement in all planes. The chair exercises train frontal plane, side to side, and transverse plane, rotational, stability, which are critical for fall prevention. Reason number 3, eccentric strength. Walking involves mostly concentric, shortening and muscle contractions. The controlled lowering in our chair exercises creates eccentric, lengthening, contractions, which research shows build 50% more strength and are specifically protective against falls. Reason number 4, bone density stimulation. Walking provides impact but not enough progressive loading to significantly increase bone density after 60. The chair exercises create targeted compressive forces that directly signal bones to become denser. Reason number 5, time efficiency. 15 minutes of targeted resistance exercise activates muscle protein synthesis for up to 48 hours. Walking would need to be performed for 60 to 90 minutes to achieve similar metabolic effects. Reason number 6, joint safety. Walking creates repetitive impact on already compromised joints. The chair exercises provide all the benefits with zero impact stress, making them safer for people with arthritis or previous injuries. Reason number 7, cognitive engagement. Walking can be done almost automatically with minimal brain engagement. The chair exercises require conscious coordination and control, which stimulates neuroplasticity and cognitive function. The bottom line, walking is good. These chair exercises are better. But the absolute best approach for optimal health after 60 is to do both. Use these chair exercises as your primary strength building routine, and add walking or other activities you enjoy for cardiovascular health and mental well-being. Conclusion and final engagement. Remember, the key to success with these exercises isn't perfection, it's consistency and progression. Start where you are, even if that means doing modified versions or fewer repetitions. Your body will adapt remarkably quickly, and you'll likely surprise yourself with how much you improve in just a few weeks. The research consistently shows that it's never too late to start. Studies have included participants well into their 90s who still showed significant improvements. Your body maintains its ability to adapt and grow stronger throughout your entire life. It just needs the right stimulus, and these 2 chair exercises provide exactly that. These movements aren't just exercises. They're investments in your future independence, dignity, and quality of life. Every repetition you perform is a vote for remaining active, engaged, and self-sufficient for years to come. Now we want to hear from you. What's the one daily activity that's become more challenging for you after 60 that you'd love to improve? Is it getting up from the couch? Climbing stairs? Getting in and out of the car? Share in the comments below. And be honest with me, how many minutes do you currently spend exercising each week? What's been your biggest obstacle to staying consistent with an exercise routine? When will you start incorporating these 2 chair exercises into your weekly routine? Will you begin today, or are you waiting for the perfect moment? Share your experiences, your concerns, and your goals in the comments below. We read and respond to every single comment, and your story might inspire someone else to take action. If you found this information valuable and life-changing, please share this video with someone you care about who's over 60. You could be giving them the gift of independence and vitality for years to come. Thanks for watching, and here's to your health, strength, and independence at every age.